Hey guys, what's up? Icy Soul from Icy Duelist, and on this video for uh, Beginner's Guide to Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm going to show you guys about fusion and ritual summoning, how to do it, and because I know the Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D's official tutorial didn't really go into it, and I think that's because back then in the 5D's era, it wasn't that big of a deal. It wasn't a really big mechanic. But now with the new Arc V series coming out, and they're actually kind of trying to bring back fusions and rituals, so I thought it'd be a good idea to show you guys how to do that, since it is becoming more popular. And with like Shadal's, which is a heavy fusion based deck in the top tier right now, and with Quiblos coming pretty soon, and those are going to be a ritual based deck, so I kind of felt it was necessary to show you guys how this works. So, starting off, let's start off with fusion monsters. Now, fusion monsters are actually put in your extra deck. You see we have 3 here. We have Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, XYZ Dragon Cannon, and El Shadal Construct. I'll be showing you guys how to summon all 3 of these monsters in this video. So, starting out with Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. As you see, fusion monsters all have this purple border. I figure that's important to point out. And to summon Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, it doesn't really say on the card text exactly how to do it. That's because fusion monsters are fusion summoned, which is a type of special summoning. If you have the resources to do so, just like Exceeds, just like Synchros, if you have the resources to do so, you can fusion summon as many times in a turn as you're able to, as you have the resources to do so. But fusion monsters are brought out by spell cards, sometimes special trap cards do it as well, but we're focusing on spell cards for the sake of this tutorial. Now, the main card used is Polymerization to fusion summon. So we're going to be fusion summoning Blue Eyes White Dragon with Polymerization. So as you'll see on Blue Eyes White Dragon's or Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon's card text, you'll see it just has Blue Eyes White Dragon plus Blue Eyes White Dragon plus Blue Eyes White Dragon. That means the fusion materials, which kind of are similar to Exceeds materials in the sense that they stop becoming monsters and start becoming materials when you do the summon. That basically means that you need 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons to summon this. So, for the sake of this tutorial, we're just going to throw up our Blue Eyes on board as if we already had them on board. So we're going to normal summon Blue Eyes, and then just normal summon Blue Eyes. We have our 3 Blue Eyes on board, and then on our main phase 1, let's actually just set it to our main phase 1 just to show you. So this all happens on our main phase 1 or 2. We have our 3 Blue Eyes on board, and then we activate Polymerization. Now, Polymerization says fusion summon 1 fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or your side of the field as fusion materials. So yes, theoretically, you could have the fusion materials either on the field or in your hand, or any combination. Say I actually had, instead of these 3 Blue Eyes on the field, say I had maybe 1 on the field, and maybe for the sake of this, put these back in my hand. Say I had just 1 on the field and both the other Blue Eyes back in my hand. I could still activate Polymerization, and what happens is you send the fusion materials to the grave. So let's send that Blue Eyes to the grave, let's send this Blue Eyes to the grave, and let's send this Blue Eyes to the grave. And then we can go into our extra deck, and then fusion summon, which is, as I said, a special summon, Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. And once you are done with the fusion summon, you just send the spell card you use to make it to the grave. Now let's get back our Blue Eyes so I can show you another way to fusion summon. There's like 3 ways to fusion summon, but we're not going to need Polymerization for this one, so we're just going to put back our Blue Eyes in our hand. and I'll show you what to do. So there is another card that actually makes you able to fusion summon, and that is Fusion Gate. Fusion Gate, I believe, is still, unbanned. There are other cards such as Future Fusion, which are banned, that do allow you to fusion summon. But since a lot of those are banned, I'm only going to be covering Fusion Gate in this tutorial. So Fusion Gate is a field spell. So once you activate Fusion Gate as a field spell, it says either player can fusion summon a fusion monster without using polymerization. So, say for example, I have the blue eyes in my hand. I activate the effect of Fusion Gate, and since Fusion Gate says the fusion materials are banished instead of being sent to the graveyard, we're going to actually banish these blue eyes instead. So we banish one blue eyes, banish the second blue eyes, and then we banish the third blue eyes, and that allows us to again special summon our blue eyes ultimate dragon. So that's just a second way to fusion summon. As long as this field spell remains on the field, then you can do that, as many times as you want to, and you have the resources to. So we're gonna just send our buddy Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon to the grave. We're not gonna really need him anymore, and we'll send Fusion Gate to the grave. We're not gonna need it. There is a third way to summon called Contact Fusion. Now, Contact Fusion is very, very specific. Only certain kinds of cards work with it. I'll put a link in the description that shows you guys what cards exactly can Contact Fusion, but like I said, it's very, very limited, the cards that can do this. One of the special archetypes that can Contact Fusion is the XYZ monsters. Now, I'm not talking Xyz, and don't get that confused with the Xyz monsters that go in the extra deck. These are, what I'm talking about Xyz monsters are X Head Cannon, Y Dragon Head, and Z Metal Tank. That's what I mean by XYZ. So, these monsters are special in the regard that they can contact fusion with each other, which means you do not need polymerization. All you need to do is declare that you are contact fusioning, and then you just send the required monsters to the graveyard, and you can then do your contact fusion for the turn, which also is a special summon, and you can special summon out your XYZ Dragon Cannon. And the cool thing about the XYZ monsters that I just sent to the grave, you can have like basically a bunch of combinations of them. They also have a V Tiger Jet card, that you can throw in with fusion monsters, and you can get YZ fusion monsters, XY fusion monster, VY fusion. They got like a bunch of like combinations of those cards. But for the sake of the tutorial, I figured why not go with XYZ Dragon Cannon. That's kind of like the main one that anybody who actually plays the deck with those in them actually brings out. So that's why you got XYZ Dragon Cannon. So that's like a third way to fusion summon. And another way to determine what cards can be contact fusioned is if it says this phrase right here, you do not use polymerization. If it says that on the card, more than likely that card can be contact fusioned. So just keep that in mind. So we're going to send that to the graveyard. We don't really need it anymore. Thank you. There are other ways to fusion summon, such as super polymerization, which says discard one card and fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from either your side of the field from either side of the field as fusion materials. Cards and effects cannot be activated in response to this card's activation. Right now this is limited to one. That may change, but basically you just follow the card text on that, and you will not need a polymerization card for this fusion summon because it pretty much is its own polymerization card, so that's something to take in consideration. I'm not going to really show you how Super Poly works. But I will show you how this card works. This is Shaddoll Fusion. This is a card you're probably going to be seeing a lot in the current format right now as I'm making this tutorial. Shaddoll Fusion is a special kind of fusion card that only works with Shaddolls, the Shaddoll archetype. So, say for example, I wanted to fusion summon El Shaddoll Construct. Its fusion material requirements are 1 Shaddoll monster and 1 light monster. So, to fusion summon, I would actually have to have, let's just bring this back to our hand for a second. I would actually have to have something like Shaddoll Hound and, where is it? Our Magician's Valkyria on the field, right? And to fusion summon that Shaddoll construct, I could use polymerization, I could use something like super polymerization, but for the sake of this, let's use Shaddoll Fusion. So we activate Shaddoll Fusion with those monsters on board. Now, all we have to do is basically just send those, say we're fusion summoning, send our Shaddoll Hound, which is our Shaddoll monster, and then our light monster, our Magician's Valkyria, to the grave, and then we will, say we fusion summon El Shaddoll Construct. So it pretty much works the same way as polymerization, pretty much, but it's very specific as it's specific to Shaddolls. And in today's format, you will be seeing a lot of that for Shaddolls. So that's basically like archetype specific fusion summoning. So that's pretty much all there is to know about fusion summoning. Any questions on that, you can leave them in the comments below, and I'll try to answer them. Let's move on to ritual monsters. Now, ritual monsters work kind of similarly to synchros. However, they do have some key differences. For one, rituals go in your main deck. They do not go in your side deck. You have to put them in with your main deck with all your other monsters and spells and traps and everything. So, generally, too, it's kind of hard to use ritual monsters if you don't have a deck kind of built around ritual monsters. So that's something to take into consideration, because they're kind of a combination between fusions and synchros, I would say. Ritual monsters are these blue monsters, we know it's the blue borders. And I'll be showing you how to summon 2 ritual monsters that require like 2 specific things. First one I'm going to show you is how to summon Ruin Queen of Oblivion. Now, as you see, this card says this card can only be ritual summoned with the ritual spell card End of the World. So that's why I have this spell card End of the World, and that's what ritual summoning is. You basically think of it like synchro summoning, but in order to activate it, you actually have to play a specific spell card. So in Ruin Queen of Oblivion's case, she requires the specific card End of the World. So if you were to ritual summon, you would, as this card says, this card is used to ritual summon Ruin Queen of Oblivion or Demise King of Armageddon. You must also tribute monsters from the field or your hand whose total levels equal the level of the ritual monster you are attempting to ritual summon. So for this example, let's throw up Alligator Sword and Desferal Imp on board. So we have a total of 8 stars on board. Then we would play End of the World. So I activate End of the World, you would say, and to ritual summon, and you would send your ritual monsters or ritual materials to the grave, and ritual summon, which is also a special summon, your Ruin Queen of Oblivion. So just like anything that really comes out of the extra deck, as long as you have the means to ritual summon, you can ritual summon as many times as you want in a turn. But this card is a bit unique from most of the generic ritual monsters, because it actually says you actually have to equal the level, kind of like you do with synchro monsters. But the majority of the ritual monsters, I'm going to send these to the grave, so you got the idea how to kind of summon like that. But the majority of the ritual monsters actually are a little bit different. We're going to be summoning Magician of Black Chaos for this next example, which says you can ritual summon this card with Black Magic Ritual, which we have right here. Black Magic Ritual says this card is used to ritual summon Magician of Black Chaos. Notice now it says you must also tribute monsters from your hand or field, which, you know, unlike synchros, you can't really like synchro from your hand, but this lets you ritual from your hand if you want, or the field, whose levels equal 8 or more. That or more being the key difference there, another key difference. So like, say for example, I mean, I know we have exactly 8 here, but we could have even like 9 or 10 or even 12 levels, you know, on the field or in our hands that we can actually spend on this ritual summon. So for this example, let's just say we have both of our 7 colored fish on board, and we want to ritual summon Magician of Black Chaos from our hand. So we would say activate Black Magic Ritual to ritual summon. We send them to the graveyard. Magician of Black Chaos, special summon again. But like I said, they're flipping a coin. With most ritual monsters, you do have that thing where it is a tribute, but it is, you know, special summon. Anyway, it does have that thing where you can ritual summon from your hand, kind of like a fusion, and you also don't need exactly the level of the monster. You can actually exceed that if you want. For example, like say if you wanted to clear your board like for an advantage over your opponent, and you wanted to ritual summon, but your ritual summoned your ritual monster didn't actually had less of a level than the monsters combined that you have on board. You can still do that, and you can like tribute all of your monsters, even if the total level exceeds that of your ritual monster, and still pull off the ritual fine. But like I said, this is a little bit different than Ruin, because Ruin is specific that it requires you to actually have the exact level, while something like Magician of Black Chaos that actually does not require you to have the exact level. You can actually exceed it, but you do actually have to have a minimum level of at least 8 stars on board total. But yeah, I think that's basically it when it comes to ritual monsters. Of course, after you ritual summon, you send the spell to the graveyard, but I'm pretty sure you got that by this point. Yeah, that's basically it for ritual and fusion summoning. I know I kind of went through this kind of quickly and haphazardly. It's because I'm not really used to Dueling Network, and you know, I don't really like using it, but it was the easiest way to show you guys how to do this. So if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below for either ritual or fusion summoning. I'll try my best to answer them. And as always, more content coming to Icy Duelist really soon. If you want more Yu-Gi-Oh! Videos on a weekly basis, make sure to keep it tuned to Icy Duelist. And as always, this is Icy Soul for Icy Duelist, signing out.